But yeah, no, there's, I was on the very like easiest kind of thing, like, but the expert and advanced lines, they're called jump lines. These kids are going 20 feet in the air, covering a span of like 30 feet in distance. I mean, it's crazy.
Doesn't it have a disclaimer that if you're over 50, you cannot participate? I mean, some kind of like, when you go to Disneyland, if you're not this tall, you can't go on this ride, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the regular like ride at your own risk warnings aren't good enough for dumb 50-year-olds. Yeah. 50 something. Yeah. So no, I was just totally stupid. I'm too old to do that. You see the little guys do it. They bounce right back up and dust themselves off and just keep going. But no, I crumpled like a tin can.
I'm just so glad you're okay.
How do they fix a punctured lung?
That actually, I am glad you asked that, Ken, because I had no idea. So literally, like think of a Mylar balloon. If it pops, it just sort of like falls into like a little pile. And so I got to see my x-ray. So one thing, you can see all the lung on one side. The other one is just black. It's just a blank chest cavity with this little thing at the bottom. And so what they do is rather than pump air back into your lung, they put something that sucks air out of your chest cavity, which as they're sucking the air out, your lung starts to take up that empty space. So I thought that was just interesting. So I had that thing on me for like 2 days.
Yeah. What punctured it? One of your ribs?
My ribs. Yeah.
Are you still in pain?
Yeah, I mean, but it's totally bearable. I'm down to like Advil. I was on Oxy for a while, and you get off that eventually, and I'm just on Advil. Yeah. So that was.
Glad you're good.
That was my Mikey mountain bike crash story, and like when you buy a car and it's like a yellow car and it seems like everyone else has the same yellow car. I've had so many people tell me I've crashed on my bike and I did the same thing, broke ribs and a collarbone. It's, I guess, a pretty common bike crash kind of injury.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Well, Jim, I'm never going to tell you that.
But I will tell you, like the back, because I went like over my handlebars, so the back of my helmet is all bashed in. So like the real story is wear your freaking helmet.
You hadn't been wearing a helmet.
Because I didn't have any head. I had no head injury, but I broke the outside and the inside of my helmet. Like there's like a little there's like a little suspension system inside the helmet that all broke, and then the outside plastic all broke. But
that's good news. I'm glad that happened.
Yeah.
That it didn't.
Yeah, you're lucky you didn't have any drain damage.
You're actually lucky you were at that park, Jim.
Yeah.
Just because of its location.
Yeah.
Were you able to summon the paramedics quickly?
This is another really funny story. I'm at the bike park.
It's a very strange sense of humor,
right? So I'm hurt. I went unconscious, but when I came to, this, like I heard this, like as I'm kind of like in La La Land, starting to come to, they're like, dude, breathe, dude, breathe. Like bikers, and then they get me like off the track, and then I can hardly just do anything but just concentrate on trying to breathe. Right, I'm like hyperventilating. I'm in shock probably. I'm trying to like just stay together. And they're debating over how much an ambulance ride costs. Don't call the ambulance, man. It's too expensive. Who's got a truck? Let's just take him to the hospital. So my daughter's trying to get the truck to me, but the gates are all locked. So we ended up calling a ranger. I actually got a ride out from a ranger and just got a ride to Robles. But it was hilarious. The young guys were all debating on the cost of an ambulance ride, and they shouldn't call an ambulance. Just get them to the hospital.
They just wanted you off the track, so they
exactly. That's what
they
I
were
was
like
thinking.
literally like, come on, dude, get off the track. We got more people to ride. It was hilarious.
Dude, you're messing up my Sunday afternoon, dude.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I'm glad now. See, my kids probably would have started laughing, and then they would have realized I was unconscious, and then they would have stopped laughing. You know,
Right.
I mean, it would have been like that.
You mean they celebrate?
Well, no, they'd go,
They just find it
think
funny
it
in
was
the
funny
fall.
initially, you know, you'd think it was funny, and then they'd realize I was like not responding. And then they'd go, oh God, this is serious.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you're good.
Yep.
How long were you in the hospital?
Huh?
How long were you in the hospital?
3 days in the hospital, and then
3
I actually
days.
went and stayed at my mom's house for 2 weeks because she actually has a hospital bed still in her house, which I really needed, like
Yeah.
the electronic raise and lower bed thing.
Yeah, yeah. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you look so good and feel so good, Jim.
No, I'm actually, because of how much it hurt that first week or so, I'm really amazed at how quickly you can heal. The body can heal itself. So I really feel like
Body is an amazing.
I will do that.
Jim, how are you guys doing at Westlake?
We're fine. We're gonna go through the process of considering hybrid meetings in a couple weeks.
Hmm.
And I'm anxious to get back in person. How's it going with the hybrid?
This is our second week, right? Doing it this way?
More than that.
Third?
Hi, Patrick.
Third?
Yeah, I think at least 3.
Third, yeah. Okay.
You just need a good sound system, Jim. You got to pay attention to the sound system because the first meeting.
All right. All right, let's come to order. Great to see everybody. We got a lot of people here today, a full house again, and we got a lot of people on Zoom. So
Ian Klieger needs to mute.
Rotary Club, we're so glad to have you.
Ian Klieger needs to mute.
Ian Klieger needs to mute. Ian, we're getting mute your computer, mute your sound, huh? We're taking care of that. You still getting feedback? Okay, good. All right. Well, I want to take care of one order of business first. I've got some good friends from Westlake Sunrise here, but my cohort, which I'll introduce one by one later, but my cohort president, Laura Willis, I hear has a special day today. It is her birthday, and she's celebrating it with us. So Laura, let's sing happy birthday to Laura. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Laura. Happy birthday to you. So thank you for being here with us today. Great. Thank you. One other thing, I could tell last week that everyone was so excited to be here. There was lots of great chatter and banter. The only thing is, it would be great if everybody could not chatter and banter when the speaker is up here speaking. We got a lot of issues from other members who could not hear. So if you could chatter and banter until we start the meeting and then do it again after the meeting, awesome. That would be great. Second, we have limited bandwidth in this meeting, so please do not turn your cell phones on and use your cell phones during the meeting. It takes away the bandwidth. Last week, we lost one projector because there were too many phones operating at the same time. So please keep those off. If you need to use them, go outside if you would. That would be great. So today we're live, we're on Zoom, and we're going on YouTube. So you can catch us at 3 different locations today, which is great. So thank you for being here. Semifinals, Mr. Massey has got a great contestant here today. I think Vicki, Lady Macbeth, Arndt is online, and is Rich Folsom here live? Rich, the Razor Folsom is live. Awesome. David, over to you. Give us the scoop.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the joke contest. We're still in the preliminaries right now. Rich, if you can drop the camera and come on up front, we'll have you go second. Vicki, tell us your joke.
So there's this police officer And he, from Philadelphia, he just had it done. He decided, I'm retiring, I'm moving to Alaska, I'm going to live out in the woods, I'm going to get away from everybody, I'm going to build my dream home, and it's going to be fantastic. So he buys 20 acres on a river, beautiful view of the mountains, great river, and he starts building, and he's really enjoying it. And you know, he's 6 months past, and he hasn't seen a soul. And this one day, he hears a boat coming along the river. And he's like, boy, he says, I didn't know anyone was out here. I really thought I was all alone. So he wanders down to the river, and this grizzled old guy gets out of the boat. And so the policeman says, well, hello, hi, you know. And the old guy says, I'm your neighbor from 20 miles up the river. And the guy goes, wow. He goes, I haven't met anybody. In all these months, I haven't met anybody. So it's kind of nice to talk to somebody, meet someone. He said, yeah, well, how you doing? Well, I'm doing great. I feel, you know, I'm accomplishing things and getting things done. And I'm going to have the house done pretty soon. And that's all good. And he said, well, the reason I came by is because I wanted to invite you to a party. And the guy goes, a party? Ah, you know what? That sounds pretty good. I've been alone for a long time, and so party actually sounds kind of nice. It'd be nice to meet some of the other folks around, you know. And he says, well, that's great. I'm glad you want to come, but I have to warn you, there might be some drinking. And the policeman goes, drinking? He goes, well, I pounded back a few myself, so no big deal, not to worry. I can handle myself. He's like, okay, well, it's good. Well, I also have to warn you, there might be some fighting. And so the guy says, fighting? He says, I'm a retired policeman. He said, you know, there's probably not much I haven't seen, so I'm not really worried. I can handle myself. He said, well, that's good. Well, I also need to warn you, there might be some wild sex. And the guy goes, wow. You know, I've been by myself for a while, so actually that doesn't sound so bad either. And he said, so, you know, what time should I be there? He says, oh, don't matter much. It's just going to be you and me.
All right, Vicki, Rich, let's hear you go.
Thanks, Dave. Well, it was so dry out today that I just saw 2 trees fighting over a dog. But anyways, a sad dollar today. What's your right up there? I'll offer up a sad dollar today because the other night my wife and I were getting ready for bed, and I caught a glance in the mirror, and I started lamenting about my lost youth. And I said, you know, I'm really thinning at the top, and it's what's not thinning is turning gray, and the gray is moving on south, and the big jowls, and I go, and the wrinkles, and there's kind of a little cake where the 6-pack used to be, and there's extra junk in the trunk, and all the way down to my toes. My toenails are starting to turn yellow. So in a moment of insecurity, I turned to my wife and I said, could you just say one nice thing about my body? And she looked me up and down and thought for a second. She said, well, I'd say your eyesight's pretty damn near perfect. All right, so David, you're going to count votes in here. I am going to launch the poll for our online Zoomers. We're voting for Vicki's joke. Arm up. For those voting for Rich, arm up. All right, let's. I just got the poll launched, so let's see what it comes out. We got a couple more voters that need to get in here. Oh, look at this online. Come here. Look at this.
That is interesting.
Yeah. All right. 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In polling. You got the numbers?
Yeah.
All right.
Everyone here voted for Rich.
All right. Rich the Razor Folsom moves on till next week. All right. Congratulations and thank you, contestants, for playing today. All right, guest introductions. Kyle, come on up. And while Kyle is coming up, I want to again, introduce some good friends from Westlake Sunrise who are with us today. So give them a hand as they're introduced. Randy Strong is here. Laura Umet. Michael is here. And Michelle is here. So thank you guys for coming. Kyle, who else we got in the house? Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. I forgot Zoom. Jim Wisdom is in the house too. Jim, good to see you.
Looks like we also have Ellen Mole who's online. That's Nancy's mom. And Pat Bellucci is here. I saw her. Where's Pat? There she is. Welcome, Pat. It's also good to see some new faces like Marissa. Thanks for joining us. Haven't seen you in about a year. So I think that's all. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle. Inspirational moment, Mr. Massey.
We've had to be concerned a lot about infection. That's been on everyone's mind for the past year. And recently I dealt with infection. And others did too. And I saw Doc Fred there, and he had a bit of this infection. And Nelson Bus did. Michelle Nash did as well, and her son Eddie. And both Carol Friedman and Carol Robinson did too. And Dave Stolwell and Rich and his son, and Todd and his son Luke. And Jerry Robings, I think, had a little bit of this infection. So did Don and John Bradley. And one of the telltale signs of this infection was this color. This is, we saw the infection would kind of be around their hands, sometimes on their elbows, on their clothes, that we saw blotches of this color on them. Some of them were able to kind of avoid it, like Dave. He kind of helped those people. Rich took pictures of people with that infection. And what that was is that was the color that we painted the eaves at the YMCA and the ball pits that we did and how we cleaned up for it. And folks, the signs of that infection was that green splattered paint, and the infection was volunteerism. The infection was getting out there and doing something. And I felt quite infected by that. And it was wonderful. And it was wonderful to see Rotarians out of the Y enjoying themselves and spending time with each other. Our friends here were there as well. We had about 30 plus people out there, and we gave a wonderful, beautiful new coat of paint and a cleanup at the YMCA. And that infection was inspirational. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, David. Very good. Yeah, my inspirational was I watched Carol Freeman working, which was impressive. Very impressive. Yeah. All right, we're going to have our song, assuming we can keep our bandwidth with us today. So this was provided by Nancy. This land is your land. A little bit of modified Nancy.
This land
Thank you, Nancy. Okay. Zoom stopped unexpectedly. Am I still?
We still hear you.
You're still on, Dave.
We're still on Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, that was, it's always an adventure. Always an adventure. All right, let's go to fine session. Jonathan, I don't see Jonathan online. Anybody? I guess.
No, I'm out in Zoom land.
There you are. All right. Hold on. Let's share screen and I'll put it over to you in 1 second. Let's start the slideshow. All right. Very good. Okay, Jonathan, I'm turning it over to you.
Why, thank you. You know, I guess we'll just make a right answer $10 and a wrong answer 20. I was tempted to say 1 million, 2 million, but I don't think that's going to work now during these times. Why don't we start with Pat McCoy and we'll see who said it. The difference between stupidity and genius is that genius has its limits. Einstein, Twain, Samuel Clemens, or Chris Rock?
Let's see. Let's go with A.
Albert Einstein, and the answer is, I think that's right. Somebody slow on the trigger.
All right.
Thank you very much. There we go. How about next? Let's go with Ken Kossoff. I don't see a photo, but I do see him here. Hi, Ken.
I am here. Hello there.
I mean, part of the beauty of me is that I'm very rich. I should have put my name in there, but is it Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, or Donald Trump?
I would think Donald Trump.
And survey says you're correct. Thank you very much. Let's see. Who can we pick here? I'm running out of people online. Mike Jansen. You'll appreciate this. I asked God for a bike, but I know God doesn't work that way. So I stole a bike and asked for forgiveness. Jerry Seinfeld, Abe Lincoln, Al Pacino, or Al Capone?
Well, if it's the type of bikes that you ride, I'm guessing it would be Jerry Seinfeld.
Is that your final answer?
Oh, no, Al Pacino.
Thank you. Next card, please.
You want me to call on a couple of people here, Jonathan?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Do you want me to call on a couple of people that are
Yeah,
live?
would you please?
All right. I'm going to pick on Marissa since she just showed up today. Good to see you. So,
Hi, Marissa. When asked by a reporter what he thinks about Western civilization, he answered, I think it would be a good idea. Robin Williams, Theodore Roosevelt, Mohandas K. Gandhi, or John Muir?
she's going with John Muir.
And it is.
No, it would be Gandhi. All right, let's
Gandhi.
see. Hugo. Hugo's in the room. All right.
Hugo. All right. A 2-year-old is kind of like having a blender, but you don't have a top for it. Would that be Dr. Seuss, Jerry Seinfeld, Roald Dahl, or Adam Sandler? You're going to have to pull that out of the air. Survey says
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl. I think he's wrong.
Jerry Seinfeld. All right.
I thought it was going to be easy.
All right.
Who are we going to pick next, Dave?
Okay, let's see. My good friend David Friedel is here. All right, let's go with David.
David, hi. I haven't seen you in a dog's age. Divorce is like ripping a man's heart out through his wallet. Adam Sandler, Robin Williams, Steve Martin, George Carlin. If you want to keep your guy card, you better get this right.
George Carlin.
Survey says George Carlin? I don't think so.
Wow. Wow. I tell you, we're racking up the funds today. Why don't you pick somebody online now, John?
How about Mr. Jason Corey? I see him being very pensive online. Let's bring up the next card.
Okay.
Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. Oscar Wilde, Richard Pryor, Lenny Bruce, or Rodney Dangerfield? This one's easy.
Rodney Dangerfield?
I'm afraid it wasn't that easy. Sorry.
That is not my age group.
No, but Oscar Wilde is just the best.
All right, last one, Jonathan. You want online or in person?
In person.
Oh, who's going to be the lucky one? Darren caught my eye, so Darren, you're up.
Never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. Dwight D. Eisenhower, Robert E. Lee, Ulysses S. Grant, or Napoleon Bonaparte? Survey says
he's going with Eisenhower.
Well, you know, we're racking up the money.
Yep.
Thank you all for participating and allowing me to be part of your club.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Jonathan graciously went today after I skipped him a couple of weeks ago. So good to have you back, Jonathan, with that. All right, it's time for fun time. Pat McCoy, I'm going to put you in the speaker view, Pat, so everybody can see you.
Can you see me?
You're up.
All righty. Okay. Let's see what we're up to. $15. So whoever I pull out of here, they get $15 deducted from their bill. And the winner is, well, it's a red chip. It's a long word. Starts with a C and ends with a wall. What would that be? It's a corn wall.
Nope. Pull another one, Pat.
Okay, good idea. Let's see what we got here. You know, I go through these things all the time. My goodness. Okay. Danny Lampert. Marissa, you tell him. He was called Danny Lampert.
Okay. We go more next week. Up to more $20 next week. Okay, Pat. Who's our victim today for two truths and a lie?
Okay, our victim today for two truths and a lie is sitting right there in the black, sitting right next to Felix. And she's walking up now, and that will be Michelle Nash. And there's the questions. Michelle, can you read them to us?
All right, come on in here. And I'm curious as the answer to this.
Oh, okay. Okay, I backpacked around Europe and Mexico a few times. More than once, we ran out of money and had to get money wired to the Western Union office. The second one is I have my SAG card and was in several Miller Lite commercials that aired during Cubs games. And the third one is I lived across the street from Central Park in New York City for 3 years.
Okay, all right. Stay right there, Michelle. I need somebody to help me count votes. Somebody come up and help me count votes. All right, David, thank you. All right, how many in the room believe she backpacked around Europe and Mexico a few times is the lie? How many people think that is a lie? We got 4, okay. Number 2, I have my SAG card and was in several Miller Lite commercials with Cubbies. How many think that's a lie? I think that's true. Whoa, all right. And number 3, I lived across the street from Central Park in New York. How many think that is a lie? $17, okay. All right, well, everybody believes that number 3 is a lie, that you lived across from Central Park in New York City for 3 years. Come and explain what these all mean.
So which one am I doing first?
Do the 2 truths.
Okay. So the truth is, yes, I backpacked around Europe and Mexico a few times. And I was like the summers during college in my early 20s. And we didn't have credit cards back then. We had cash and cashier money orders, remember those? And cashier's checks, traveler's checks. And so one time we were there for 2 months and I had brought $500 and I ran out of money about halfway through. And I called my mother Colette from France and said, could you wire me some more money? And she did. And so we had to go to the Western Union somewhere in the middle of France and pick up more money. So that was true. Yes, most of you know I'm from Chicago. So yes, I was in a Miller Lite commercial. We were at a bar, you know, if you think about Chicago and the skyline and the river, we were at a bar in the middle of the afternoon like you do when you're 20. And in came the people and the camera crew, and they took we signed papers that we never read, of course. And they took videos and everything, whatever they did back then. And then we were on during the Cubs games all summer long, and I kept on getting checks from SAG. And it was like manna from heaven. I get a check for $100. And then I get another check for $100. And I'm like, this is the greatest thing in the world. So then the lie is, yes, I never lived in New York. I love New York. I really like Central Park, but I never lived there. So.
All right, Michelle, thank you. That was great.
Thank you, Michelle.
So Club did a nice job today of detecting the lies. So that's excellent work. All right. We have a few announcements today. And first of all, I want Ian to come up. You probably all saw my email out about the annual fund. So thank you for those of you who have responded. We continue to try to make as many contributions to the annual fund as possible. That is the lifeblood of Rotary. That's how Rotary does all these grants, how we get district money. It is critical for the annual fund contributions. We have some awards to give away today, Paul Harris Fellows, for those who did contribute, and we want to give them a great congratulations because they're stepping up to the plate to make a difference in the world. So I'm going to turn it over to Foundation, Mr. Ian. Thank you.
Hey everyone, how you doing? A couple things. First, I'd like to announce that I know you're all pretty sick of hearing from me, but I have some good news. Right, see? The 54-20 challenge that I pestered you all about in the beginning of this year, the Rotary year, well, we are one of only 31 clubs in our 73 club district to have completed it. So well done, everyone. Kind of nice. I also have some pins. So the first one I'd like to give out, or have Dave give out, is to where are you, Nelson Bus. Nelson, you have Paul Harris +4.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. And one more to my buddy Carrie. Come on up. This is his first Paul Harris. So right on, buddy. Hand this to you. Thank you.
All right. Bob, come on up, would you? So next week at the meeting, we are going to close out our coins for polio. If you have any change, spare change, lots of coins you've been saving, bring them next week. We're going to have a basket here, dump them off. That'll be our final collection of coins for polio. So please bring them next week, and we'll get them wrapped and sent into RI for polio. Bob, give us an announcement.
Thank you, President Dave. As many of you know, I'm on the board of directors of the Gold Coast Veterans Foundation. We have just received a donation of 110 brand new wheelchairs. I have been asked by the foundation to reach out through Rotary. We're also going to see if Susan can have Bob Engler reach out through Kiwanis. We want to give these for free to veterans who need wheelchairs. So if anyone here knows of a veteran who needs a wheelchair, reach out either directly to Gold Coast and Camarillo, they're in the Ventura County Community Foundation building, or reach out to me and let's get them handled. It can be whether they need it long-term or short-term. When I had my back surgery almost a year ago, I needed a walker for a short period. I got this brand new, beautiful walker that I was very pleased to take back to them. But it's a service we provide for vets. So I don't know any that need it personally. That's why I'm reaching out. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. All right. Well, I want to talk to you today about a new campaign that our club is launching that was approved by our board at this last board meeting. You know, our local community has suffered a lot. We've got businesses that have been closed. We've got restaurants that have been out of business, just now starting up. So we've got a new campaign that we want all our club members to participate in. It's a bingo game. It should be a little bit fun, but it's called Go Local. And I'm going to pull it up on the screen also so we can see it. This is an encouragement to play bingo and get out there and make a difference for the businesses in our community. Buy someone coffee, eat a local restaurant, hand out some of our TORF cards, our Thousand Oaks Rotary Club cards, thanking them for staying open and working during this COVID crisis. Share some reviews online about favorite spots and restaurants. Let's try to help our businesses get back. This is a fun, easy way everybody can play. We're going to pass these out, and then whoever gives me a filled card out that completes all squares, we have a prize, a big prize. So please participate. Please help our businesses and make a difference. Just so you know, the board is going to one of their favorite spots. They're buying a $50 gift card. They're doing a video with the owner. We're posting it in our social media with hashtag local with Rotary Thousand Oaks. And the first person, non-Rotarian from this group, who sees it on social media, goes into the place of business, they will get that $50 gift card free. And we're encouraging them to spend more money when they pick up their card. Herb's already done his. He went to Tarantula Brewing. And so that will launch May 1st. We're playing just during the month of May. So it starts in a couple of days. So I'm going to have a couple of people pass these cards out. Thank you to Mr. Dave Friedel. He was the one that put this together, printed them, did a great job. So thank you, David, very much for that. On the, let's see if we can get this to come up again. On the back of the card, you will see kind of the instructions. Over the month of May, let's love our community. We can do this by supporting locally owned small business and paying it forward to strangers. It's called Blackout Bingo. So take pictures, post them on Facebook, but easier is just send them to Nikki, who is going to post them across all of our social media platforms. She's doing a great job. We have 4 or 5 social media platforms going. and Nikki will make sure it gets posted. So please play, please participate. Also make sure you're getting these cards out to people, thanking them for staying open and working. They're here with me. Nancy has a bunch of them also. So please, please be ready to participate in that. All right. A lot of you were here last week, and I'm going to turn this over to Michael in just a minute, but I want to just say a lot of you were here last week where we heard from Dr. Gupta, direct from India. And if you're paying any attention to the news, you know that there is a huge humanitarian crisis going on in India. 350,000 people a day are becoming infected with COVID. There's 25,000 people a day dying because of COVID in India. That's just the ones that they're counting. And, you know, in some of the areas where there's slums, we know that they're not counting 100%. So as normal, our club is stepping up to participate in doing a global grant with our good friend Jayanta, who was here last week talking to everybody. He is going to help write a global grant so that we can get money into India for oxygen. It's running out. I don't know if you read, but several people have gone to the hospital. There's no oxygen. They're turning them away and they're dying in the streets. So we're trying to get oxygen and some other supplies over there as quickly as possible. So we are going to write a global grant. We're going to do it quickly. And the board just voted to free up some funds from our budget to do our Paul Harris Fellow matches. And again, remember, if you put in $600 towards a Paul Harris Fellow, our club contributes $500. We give $400 to make the $1,000 complete, and we give $100 to our foundation. So we're going to do 12 Paul Harris Fellows. Mike Jansen did an unbelievable job in putting this together in about 2 hours. And Vicki has done a great job of reaching out and making this known to us and to some other clubs. So Michael, in just a 2-minute summary, tell us what we're doing for this grant.
Sure. Thanks, David. And thanks to all the help for Vicki on making all these contacts with India and reaching out to other clubs. So basically, we would provide oxygen concentrators and ventilators to the local India club project. And the way, as you indicate, David, we have 12 Paul Harris Fellow matches. What does that mean? There's at least a 6 times multiple on the money that you put in. So if you put in $600 to get a full Paul Harris Fellow recognition, our club matches $500. The total of the $12,000 that goes in for those 12 Paul Harris Fellow contributions is matched dollar for dollar by our district. So they put in $12,000. And Rotary International adds another $12,000 because they match dollar for dollar whatever the district puts in. So basically, by putting in the $6,000 that's put in by 12 club members, each putting in $600, automatically turns into $36,000 through all of this leveraging. And so it's a really great and worthy cause. There's a great return on the money that goes in. And by participating in these projects, it enables us to do reverse global grants here in our local community, like we did for the Conejo Free Clinics and the Hospice of the Conejo global grant that we did. We intend to do another 1 or 2 reverse global grants here in our area next year. And by involving these international clubs, they then will put in money with us to do projects here in our area. So just a quick word, if you're interested in participating, shoot me an email, shoot Dave an email, shoot Vicki an email to get on the list for one of these 12 Paul Harris Fellow matches that we're reaching out to obtain commitments for.
Thank you, Mike. In fact, we're going to do it right now. We're going to see who wants to do a Paul Harris Fellow to change some lives. So, Michael, you catch the people online, and Ian's going to catch the people here. Let's see if we can get 12 Paul Harris Fellows together here. It looks like we have a lot of people subscribing.
So David, can I say something?
Yes,
Um,
Vicki.
We have the opportunity to actually add to this grant if we can get another $8,000. I've reached out to some clubs to get support from clubs or club members, but if you as an individual would like to participate in this grant without the match, without the Paul Harris Fellow match, then that's also available. So if you have any interest in donating to the grant, as I said, without the match part of it, you still get Paul Harris credit. You just don't get the club match. Then that's available too. So it's not out of. Again, if you want to participate, there's an opportunity to do it.
Great, thank you, Vicki. So yeah, just get your name down. We will be contacting you quickly because we're really trying to get this funded. So thank all of you. I saw a lot of hands up. Great, appreciate it. As normal, this club steps up every single time to make a difference. And this grant's going to save lives. There's just no question. We get oxygen, ventilators, and everything there. We're going to save a lot of lives.
And we have 5 online that raised their hand.
So we'll get a hold of everybody. Excellent. Thank you all very much for that. Appreciate it. All right. And if you want to participate without the match, that's also available to the Paul Harris. All right, let's go to David Harris. Come on up, David. Where's David online? There he is. Happy dollars. Come on up, David. So if you could watch on there too. Here you go. I'm going to step right up so they can hear you.
Do we have anybody for happy dollars today?
If you have a happy dollar, come up. Just come on up. Yep. Yeah. Okay, Tanya. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let me take this. I'm going to just immediately come over here. Go ahead.
This last weekend, my husband and I drove to Santa Barbara and had lunch with Sharon Renshaw and her new husband, Bob Fisher, in their beautiful new home there in Santa Barbara. And she sent her love to everybody that she knows here and misses everybody very much.
Oh, you almost got 100.
Oh, I was gonna put down two. Anybody else?
Nikki online.
Oh, Nikki, I didn't see you.
It's an announcement dollar, actually. We'll do an announcement, $10. TO Arts is presenting Scene at the Greens, which is a series of live outdoor concerts at the Los Robles Gardens, including a jazz concert coming up on May 8th. So if anyone would like to get tickets for that, there'll be, social distance protocols in place, but there'll be a bar and they'll be outdoor in the gardens. And we're doing 2 jazz concerts at 4 o'clock in the evening, and then a second show at 8 in the evening. And then a couple other performances later in the month as well. So if you're interested, just email me, nikki@toarts.org.
Okay, thank you. Doug has an announcement, so come on in.
Hi, I have 20. Somebody?
I'll take it.
She'll take it. I'll take it. So there we go. So I was really excited. We had a conversation with the Quail Unified School District, and they were excited to do the Youth Citizenship Award again this year. So that's going to be on May 20th. And there's 18 nominees from the elementary schools, including 1 set of twins. And then there's 5 from the middle schools. So we had a discussion today, so it's going to be part live and part Zoom, but that'll be on May 20th. I'm really looking forward to honoring these kids and hearing what they've done during all these difficult times.
You just say Jeff?
Yes, Mr. Bornstein, you're up.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So never mind what these kids have done. Grandpa has just been inactive for a whole year. In the last 3 weeks, I've had opportunity to watch my eldest grandson play soccer, And I didn't have to travel 2 hours. We got to do it right here at Conejo Creek and at Agoura High School. So I am just happy as can be. $20.
All right, great. Thank you, David, for all the calls, and appreciate that. All right, time for our program, and I'm going to have Nancy Wall come up and adjust this camera just a little bit. All right. Here you go. Right in here. They can see you here too.
As Earth Day has been observed throughout the month and the environment is one of Rotary's 7 areas of focus, it's fitting that our speaker join us today. Our speaker today is a gifted artist, a talented musician, but most of all, a naturalist to the core. Joel Robinson is director and senior naturalist of Naturalists for You, a 501c3 environmental education nonprofit, whose mission is connecting everyone to local wilderness. He drove in from Orange today to be with us. Joel is extremely knowledgeable about the environment, and his passion shows in everything he does. He's the person is stranded on a deserted island you want to be stuck with. He's also traced his genealogy back 10 generations on his father's side, with deep historical roots in the Santa Barbara and Las Virgenes areas. Joel has guided interpretive nature walks. He's pretty much done everything when it comes to nature. He's presented events for the public benefit since 2001. He worked for the Nature Conservancy, City of Santa Ana Parks and Recreation, Inside the Outdoors, Wildlands Conservancy, and California State Parks. Everybody appreciates Joel's expertise, his enthusiasm. He's truly a genuinely wonderful person. I'm very proud of him, can you tell? So he's appreciated by the Audubon Society. I'll just list a few: U.S. Forest Service, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts of America. It just goes on and on. I'm very proud to introduce you to my nephew, Joel Robinson.
Joel, let me get this in speaker view. Okay, if everybody online could please mute. Make sure you're muted. Let's see if this is going to go. Speak for me. Nope, not going to work. Okay, sorry. Going to have to say gallery view. All right, there you go.
Yeah. Hopefully it's black. All right, can you still hear me? So I want to start by saying, howdy, folks. You're supposed to repeat. Say howdy back. There we go. That's perfect. All right. I also wanted to say haku. Can you say that? Does anybody know what that means? Well, it's how you greet somebody here. It has been a greeting for thousands of years. So who do you think speaks this language? Very good. So, so that's how I want to start. Thank you for speaking the Chumash language. I don't know that many words in Chumash, but since I live in a different territory further south, which sort of converges over here, the Tongva territory. Raise your hand if you've heard of the Tongva tribe. All right, a few of you have. So they would say Miiha. Can you say that? Very good. So that's how you say hello in Los Angeles or in Northern Orange County. So that being said, I wrote a little story here, a little bit of a presentation inspired by my aunt, Nancy, right here. So I just wanted to say, well, the title of my presentation is Rewilding Our Neighborhoods. All right, so my Aunt Nancy is a major influence in my life. We share a love of animals. I've always admired her career in the veterinary field. Who here is familiar with Aunt Nancy's career? All right, a lot of you are. So that's had a big influence in my life. And oops, getting a little ahead of myself here. So when I think back, as a child, I looked forward to visiting her because I had a chance of meeting different wild animals that needed her help. So you can imagine, you know, a young boy. I have a brother too, a little bit younger than I. So it was a real treat to go to her place. She's lived in a lot of cool locations, but the one that sticks in our head most is right next to the Arts Cultural Center right there off of Hampshire. And her place was like a little secret garden. You wouldn't realize that such a place is like a sanctuary, basically. And she lived right next to the veterinary clinic, which is pretty awesome. So she could even sneak us inside and we could see some of the animals that they were taking care of. It was pretty, I mean, you can imagine how excited it was. I was very excited. I remember an adorable baby raccoon one time. And I don't think it made it, but she brought, you know, it showed to all our family this little baby raccoon, and we were all hoping that it would survive. But the most memorable part for me, I'm a young boy, keep in mind, is that it pooped, and the poop was bright orange like mustard. And so of course, when I went to school the next day, I told all my friends, I know what baby raccoon poop looks like. So I don't know, you know, young boys, right? So, you know, and then I remember for a time she had a scrub jay that she was taking care of, and you know, the beautiful blue birds that are real vocal, and a beautiful band-tailed pigeon, which I noticed there's a few of them spending some time in the oaks right outside here, which is wonderful to see. So sometimes our clinic was faced with the heroic task of caring for an owl or a hawk or a snake or a fox or a bobcat, a deer, or even a mountain lion, if I recall correctly. I think they handled pretty much every type of animal there. And I mean, all the more exciting for my brother and I. I'm forever grateful for those childhood experiences, especially since they inspired my career as a naturalist, also known as environmental educator. I'm also grateful for living in coastal Southern California. In this magical Mediterranean climate zone, every day is truly a gift because of our tremendous biological, cultural, and landscape diversity. Raise your hand if you agree with that statement. It's pretty awesome here, isn't it? So the gifts from this virtual paradise seem infinite, don't they? But as the human population grows, many of our non-human residents are disappearing. As we continue to modify our neighborhoods to suit our desires, unfortunately, wildlife are losing their neighborhoods and are unable to survive. So now, this is the interactive part of the story. I want you to take off your shoes, if you're comfortable doing so. I've already taken off mine. You don't have to do this, but for anybody who has flip-flops or something, go for it. I assure you the carpet's quite comfortable. And close your eyes. I don't have any visual aids for this. You're gonna have to use your imagination. And I want you to think about your favorite local wild animal. And anyone will do. You are that wild animal now. So imagine that it's an autumn morning on the volcanic cactus-laden slope overlooking the Conejo Grate. You have all the traffic whizzing by, but that's a little bit separated from you. The prickly pears are ripe with tangy sweet juice. The dried buckwheat blossoms are rusty red. The giant coreopsis looks like a forest of miniature bearded trees. As you sit quietly on a perch of lichen-encrusted basalt, you hear the joyful calls and songs from various members of your community. Now I'm gonna make some of those calls and songs. See if you can figure out who these community members are. So that's one. Another one sounds like an old truck trying to start. Another one sounds like a buzzy kitten. And then the final one sounds sort of like a dove cooing, but it descends in pitch. Now, does anybody know who these four animals are? Have you heard any of them on a local trail or in your front or backyard? Anybody raise your hand? Nobody has an idea? Think of local, yes. I'm sorry? So it sounds like a dove, but this organism has X feet. So 2 toes pointing forward and 2 pointed back. It's a large bird. Do you know what it is? Yes, very good. So that downward coo, is a roadrunner. A lot of people don't realize that roadrunners even make a sound. And most people think they sound like a car horn, thanks to Chuck Jones and the Warner Brothers cartoons, right? So they actually make another sound too, where they vibrate their beaks, sort of a rapid fire clapping sound. But then there's this other one. Almost sounds like Chicago, Chicago. This is a small ground dwelling bird as well. The males have a feather on their head. Oh, everybody knows it, yes, California quail, very good. Now, this other one, real tiny, has a little tail pricked up, sort of a blue-gray, goes, it nests in the sagebrush, it eats insects off of the sagebrush. Anybody have an idea? I'll give you a hint. What's smaller than a fly? Starts with a G, a silent G. A gnat. What am I doing? Catcher. Very good, gnat catcher. All right, so we got California quail, California gnatcatcher, roadrunner, and then there's the one that sounds like a truck trying to start. They're doing that right now. So these birds are becoming more and more rare, and they rely on the cactus for their nesting, for their food. They glean insects off of it. Their nest is made out of twigs and looks like a football, or in shape anyway, and is tucked away in all of those spines, and somehow they survive in there. They have a curved downward beak, stripes on the eyes, speckles on the back. What could this bird possibly be? Cactus wren, very good, thank you. The educator right there. Yeah, was it Dave? David? Yeah, good job. So that's the cactus wren. So if you ever hear a truck trying to start, that's the cactus wren. So all these birds and many other animals that are associated with these lovely, unique species, they're all spending time here. And you all know where I'm talking about, right? You got Camarillo Grove County Park and Camarillo Springs Road, that area just to the north of the 101 freeway. So, let's see, find my place here. So other things you notice as you're perched on your, and you can close your eyes again to imagine. Other things you notice are the bright red harvester ants collecting buckwheat groats and taking them back to their nests. You can watch the coast horned lizard gobbling up the ants as it conceals itself in the soft sand, looking like a miniature dinosaur, right? And all sorts of other things that I'm sure you could probably imagine in terms of the bustling activity that is away from the freeway. But the hot, dry Santa Ana winds begin to blow. You notice the smell of burning leaves. Eventually, you see smoke and flames coming towards you. You gather your family and friends and try to escape. A busy freeway, industrial farms, malls, parking lots, and housing tracts prevent you from securing a familiar place to call your home. You are a refugee. You continue to wander further away from your birthplace out of sheer desperation. Hours turn into days as the fire consumes your neighborhood. You are dehydrated, exhausted, malnourished, and fearful of the future. Just when you think it is too late, you stumble upon a home landscape, or a school, or a city park where humans have restored the plant community that you need to survive. These plants remind you of home. They are drought tolerant, so they require no irrigation. They attract beneficial pollinators. They require little to no maintenance. They provide nutritious food, medicine, and material gifts that have been appreciated by your family, friends, and the Chumash humans for thousands of years. You breathe a sigh of relief. You are no longer afraid. You are now grateful that your human neighbors are looking out for you, your family, and friends. You are home. So, what do you think about this story? Any comments? Anything at all? Just letting it all sink in here.
Is it possible today?
It is. And I'm seeing it even at this golf course right here, where they've taken some of the passive areas and restored them to the local indigenous plants. The exciting thing is our nonprofit Naturals for You gets to participate in this journey that we're all participating in now. As human neighborhoods continue to expand and human caused fires become more frequent, we're asking the question, how can we help our non-human community members before it's too late? And so we've partnered up with a whole bunch of groups. We partnered with homeowners, school faculty, city park staff to restore wildlife habitat in passive areas where expensive landscape maintenance activities are causing significant amounts of air, noise, and water pollution. Basically, the goal is to save money, improve the health and safety for humans, and support threatened wildlife. And recent projects that we've been involved in are, we partnered with a school that I happened to go to when I was a kid, Linda Vista Elementary School, and we donated some native trees, some oaks and sycamores, and we planted them free of charge. And literally the next school day, the kids were already out surrounding one of the oak trees and having a whole discussion about it, tying it to their school curriculum. And then we watched the birds come in and start roosting in the trees. So it was like instant success. Another project is we worked with a high school, Rayo Linda High School, and did some habitat restoration work in a local suburban park. And projects like this are happening all over the place. And we're actually looking to partner up with more groups and public agencies in order to continue this, because you have a lot of space that actually isn't being used by anybody, let alone the local wildlife. But a lot of resources are going into maintaining these spaces. And so we're identifying those spaces and then restoring them back to something that could at least support local wildlife and at the most support us as well. So that's one of the things I get to do. I think I'm pretty much out of time, but I also guide nature walks along with a whole group of other wonderful, passionate people. We're all volunteers, and we guide walks throughout Southern California. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's usually really happy, unless they had to brave horrible traffic. Even then, they're relieved once they get to the trailhead and see us. And we help people cultivate a deeper relationship with the natural and cultural history of any given area. We go all the way up to Santa Barbara, all the way down to San Diego, all the way east out into Palm Springs and Joshua Tree. And it's a pleasure to serve the public in that way, because not everybody, I've noticed, had the same experiences that my brother and I did growing up, getting to hang out with my aunt and meet these animals and wander and explore the trails. And so we try to facilitate that memorable, positive experience for others. And other things we do is foraging, birding, biological surveys. We teach survival skills. We have a lot of fun doing all of that. Anything related to natural and cultural history we like to do. I even dress up like a pirate and take people to a sea cave and play some sea shanties with everybody. So just to give you an idea of what we're willing to do. But on that note, I want to thank you for listening in and being a part of my story, our story. If you have any questions or anything at all, you can pull me aside. And yes. Do I get up where? Prairie Creek. I haven't gotten up to Prairie Creek. Do you want to schedule something together? So, you know, in terms of elk, I do have personal experience there. I used to work at the Wind Wolves Preserve, where there are Thule elk, and that was an incredible place to interact with them. We even did elk counts in the fall, and then they would they'd have their young around a sag pond up on this mesa. It was a really incredible experience. But we can schedule something to Prairie Creek. We do take requests. Basically, all our calendar of events. If you look up Naturalist for You, we have a meetup calendar, and it's free to join. And people request things all the time. Basically, that's how it works best. So if there's a group of family, businesses, Rotary Club, whoever wants to go out, we'll go out and we'll interact with the elk or whatever we want to do. So any other questions or comments? Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course.
Joel, could you repeat that question?
So the question is, what's your name, sir? Seba. In his yard in Ojai, he's noticing all of these plants that are attracting a lot of pollinators. He's asking if we can name those plants. And actually, we do a lot of survey work and front and backyard consultation for free. You can donate if you like, but basically we'll help you identify anything. So if you take photos, if you have descriptions, if you want us to do a site visit, that's something we love to do, because it's amazing how much life, is taking advantage of the spaces that we live in, but we might not realize it's there. So happy to help you in your journey in identifying all these wonderful non-human family members. Yes.
This city and park district here created an open space conservation. Now has over 1,000. In your experience, have you seen we got trails, all of it.
So you're bringing up
that question again.
Yeah. So you're talking about in the community here, you've connected all of these open spaces together as a ring around the community, all of these natural spaces. And you're just wondering if we've seen that elsewhere. And we have. I think that's an effort that is shared in lots of communities throughout Southern California. I was part of a conference, I don't know, almost 20 years ago in Griffith Park called Re-Enchanting the City. And it was all about what you're talking about. Of course, when 2008, 2009, happened, a lot of funding dropped out of those types of efforts, but we're all picking up the pieces now, and we're continuing to identify open spaces for acquisition or conservation easements, and trying to, piece together as much as we can, because that connectivity really supports genetic diversity and movement. And besides that, though, I think it also is important to focus on home landscapes where we have a lot of power and control over what we put in. Some city parks that are currently managed for like lawn and that sort of thing. In some cases, it's not even necessary to even do that anymore, or at least pockets of that. So we can continue to expand the amount of habitat within the ring. You got the ring, but also even more connectivity within our neighborhoods themselves. And schools, what a great opportunity there. So, and I have been seeing that a little bit, but I think that movement's just sort of picking up steam now. So spreading the word is really important. Any other questions, Yes. Oh, it's real tough. I mean, that combined with the fires is the biggest challenge, because even though we've had a lot of large swaths of land set aside, whether or not those lands can actually support wildlife, especially if a burn has gone through, there's sedimentation, we're using so much water that the water table has dropped. It's definitely having an impact. And we're seeing it from the smallest things, from pollinators that used to be commonplace, little butterflies and other insects that we're not seeing anymore. So I think we need to still work collaboratively and make sure we can increase the amount of habitat as much as we can, and sort of better weave it into our human community in a harmonious way. Yes.
Given the area that we live in, being such a fire-prone area, all of the HOAs around here have fire breaks. Can your nonprofit interface with them, or any kind of an input? Create a fire break, but then also be it user-friendly for the native.
Let's repeat that.
Yeah. So a lot of communities, HOAs, are developing fire breaks in order to protect themselves in the event of a wildfire. And is our organization able to be a liaison to work with the community and figure out beneficial ways to manage these fire breaks? And in fact, we just approached a homeowners association because they literally are managing a fire break, and it's in the cactus scrub habitat zone. And one of the great things about cactus is it retards fire. It's one of the best plants, and we have at least 2, if not more, depending on what we're talking about, native species of cactus, a prickly pear and a cholla. And then there's other succulents like Dudleyias that are local to the area. And if you restore a fire break with those specific species, not only are you, increasing the barrier to protect you from, a fire, protect your property, you're actually still increasing habitat for the local cactus wren and roadrunners and quail and that sort of thing. And so it's sort of a win-win versus just clear cutting everything, which does protect a community short term, but can have devastating effects for some of the wildlife long term. So I'm hoping that the discussion can continue and we can actually do some planting. Cactus is easy to grow. You can literally just take cuttings and stick them in the ground, and boom, you got habitat and free food in the fall as well. If you're into nopales and tunas, very tasty. And then the cactus wren, you'll hear that, and you'll think, oh, I've done a good job. So, yeah, yes, way in the back there. Right. Yeah, so the question is, are there ways that our organization can help people manage pests in a environmentally friendly way? Is that a good summary? So we do that. I don't know if you've heard, but some of the major rodenticides have been banned very recently because of how they impact their secondary and tertiary poisonings, where whatever rodent that has been killed gets fed upon by another animal, and then it goes up through the food web, and you have devastating effects for bobcats and mountain lions and owls, which we don't, they're great managers of pests. So we do presentations for neighborhood groups about that. A lot of what we would consider pest species are the best adapted for human modified landscapes. And so, the rats, the raccoons, the crows, the Argentinian ants, they zero in on those irrigated places where we have boundary fences and we're keeping all the major predators out. So just restoring habitat can sometimes attract the predatory species that will manage your pests for you. But there's a whole bunch of other ways of doing that. There's humane traps. There's, you could put up nest boxes for owls. There's lots of different things that you can do to increase or maintain balance in a home landscape. In terms of plants, Roundup's being used heavily these days, and we're finding it in mother's breast milk now, which is scary. But the nice thing is a lot of what we perceive as weeds are agricultural escapees that our ancestors actually brought here. And if you learn and cultivate a relationship with these plants that Roundup is telling us to spray, turns out a lot of them are medicinal or edible and nutritious, and you could just harvest them just like you would harvest your broccoli and tomatoes in your garden, and rely on them as a free food source or medicine source. A quick story is we noticed that there was a plant all around my mother's garden called petty spurge. Petty spurge is a very common quote unquote weed. And my mom was dealing with skin cancer, small amounts on her face. And I said, do you realize you have petty spurge all over your yard? She goes, what does that mean? And I said, well, if you harvest it, it has a white sap that kills cancer cells. It's gonna burn like hell, but you can put it on your face and it'll kill those cancer cells. I said, you should look it up first before you use it. She just went straight for the plant. I wasn't there when she did this. She put it on her face. It burned like hell, made her cry, but it actually got rid of the cancer cells. She got a little nervous because what did I recommend her to do? But she survived and she's happy. So, gifts like that, weeds, sometimes if you have a different perspective on a plant, it might not be considered a weed or a pest anymore, but we're happy to facilitate educational experiences there. We good?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you, Joe. Don't go too far, Joe. We have a I'm glad to hear about rodenticides being banned. I actually had a bobcat die in my backyard because of that about 6 months ago. And it was a horrible thing to see, frankly. So Nancy, what do we have? Come on over here.
This is my meeting today. So you can see why I'm so proud of my nephew Joel, and he puts me to shame, and he makes me think every time we get together, and even between times, I always think first before doing anything, the impact it might have. Joel, as a gift to you from us for being our speaker today and doing what you do, we're presenting a book to a Title I school in your name with your signature. It's called Fly Guy Presents Dinosaurs. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Nancy. Sue, you want to come up? We want one more announcement about another thing this great club is doing this weekend on Saturday. So I'd like Sue to come up and talk about it just briefly, and then we'll get dismissed. Sue?
Thank you. And so anyway, I wanted to share with you that as we have continued to recognize community groups throughout the Conejo Valley this last year, we wanted to share with you, we have another presentation this Saturday, May 1st, for Safe Passage. As you know, the activities that they have provided, the mentorship and support of families at risk, had to change with the pandemic and the closure of our community. They've been providing weekly food distribution, and they continue to serve the community, even though they don't, even though they can't provide the regular programs that they would like to provide. So anyway, we are meeting at Safe Passage, and we send out an email. We'll send one out again tomorrow. We are going to be meeting at 10:45 Saturday morning, May 1st in Newbury Park. And if you can carpool, it's advised because that neighborhood has a lot of parking already present. So we don't want people to struggle to find a place to park. However, we'll be assembling. If you want to join us to help present this, please bring your yellow vest and some comfortable shoes. And the email we send out tomorrow will be the address, the time, and if you want to carpool, where to meet, specifically in a parking lot at the Ralph Shopping Center. Anyway, so when we meet them, can you see this? Oh, no. No. Oh, there I am. Okay. We give a presentation with a certificate to each organization, and so we will be presenting this certificate to Safe Passage on Saturday morning, 10:45, Newbury Park, and I'll send you an email.
Thank you, Sue. Thanks, Vocational, for doing that. This is really, you think you're doing something for somebody else, but when you go to one of these events and you see the impact it has on people, just getting a recognition, it's pretty incredible. It's just an amazing thing. So please do yourself a favor and show up Saturday. Let's play bingo. Let's go local. Let's take photographs and little videos and hashtag it and send it to Nikki. Let's make our community better. Let's support our businesses. Thank you, Joel. Great presentation. We appreciate you. Thanks to our greeters today. Nikki was online and Bob was here with us. Kyle, thanks for guest introductions. Happy Dollars, David Harris. Thank you. Notes, Nancy. Nancy had a big day today. Notes from Nancy. Book from Nancy. Speaker from Nancy. Fantastic, Nancy. Thank you. Inspirational moment, Dave Massey. Who did song? Nancy. Wow. Jonathan Handler for a fine session. Pat McCoy, fun time as always. Thanks to my guests again from Westlake Sunrise Rotary. Great to have you here. Thank you. And Jim online, he's still with us. All right, Jim. Placide's in the house, one of our newest members. Thank you, Jim. Placide. Just remember this, how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. That's just Anne Frank. We learn from the young. All right, let's go forth, Rotarians. Be tenacious, change the world. That's all there is for April 29th. See you next week. Thank you for being here. Okay, thank you.
When are you giving out that?
Don't worry, they should have given you one already. Thank you, sir.
Nice to meet all of you.
Yeah.
Oh, KT, I'm trying to respond to you. But just make it out to Torf and send it to Dave.
We're gonna have
Wender.
more than we need.
So we should see
So-
which ones want to contribute just 1,000.
Well, Dave said that. I was thinking maybe I could bow out and donate 1,000 or 1,500 and use.
Which Dave, Mike?
Oh, Dave Wender, but I'm listening to Dave Stowell here too to see what we had. Say David Stowell? David? He's on mute. He's talking to Ian I don't know what the participation was in person.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
we have time. Let's wait until, usually we need to get the grant filed, get it approved by Rotary. So I'll get back to everyone. We need to figure out if we're oversubscribed, what we're gonna do and go from there. So I have you down on the list.
Okay, and I'll need about a week to get it in there.
Sure, yeah, that's fine. That'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Thanks
thank
a
you so
lot.
much, KT.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Pat. Yeah,
Bye.
you bet. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.